My name is Teresita Blanco, the Artsy sister, and we're continuing with Deasura. This is chapter 21. Month 5, day 11, year 7. The last of my crew has been summoned today, and we finally set sail into the wide world. I donned my robes, which were finally charged, and the cloudless nights and the variety of full moons had given it a strange, bizarre aspect to it. It wasn't so much in appearance, rather in nature, and on the surface it looked just like my classical rose with a suit pattern. However, instead of the cotton, the rose had acquired a texture like rami. And first thing in the morning, I donned my robes, and it felt a bit odd to be wearing them after doing without them for so long. And to be honest, by the time I got them back, I had already forgotten I had ordered them in the first place. Better late than never, I suppose. As with most of my bright ideas, Buddha was the first to challenge them, and he said, "It is a bit too early to set sail, seeing as though the new arrivals had yet to adapt, for lack of a better word." And indeed, the zombie I had grown to call them, were hard to manage, and the majority of them were bull sharks in their former life, and they had obtained their metamorphosis while living and eating together in one of the nesting areas near the coast. And to master quixotic origin, the official excuse was that they were newly arrived Europeans. The least our enemies know about the power of my robes, the better. All in all, there was a healthy mix within the zombie, and as of now they had willed themselves to resemble humans, except for the eyes and their sharp teeth. And I have also removed scraps from my robes and offered them as gifts, after the robes had assimilated some of the physical quirks of the twins. And with this precaution, the zombies were indeed closely related to the cultures, and the change was set and approved by the higher-ups, and the integration was approved, and we shall never speak of this again. Marta and Delu had chosen to keep their bizarre forms, and even if they failed to fit in with the rest of society, aside from the pair, there were 70 others whose bodies were closer to their former selves. And the first was called Lucier, and he had a still-like figure with the shape of a person, but no hands or feet, and just pointy at those ends, and for a head it had 2 antennas with round clear bubbles, and the back had 4 pairs of wings like appendages, each with strings with a round pearl at the end of it, and she ate by filtering small organisms from the water with those beads. And 5 others were like the feather stars, and we also had 2 rainbow seahorses, and an annoying little pistol shrimp, and a periwinkle mandarin fish, and 4 stingrays, and a pair of gannets. With these and many other minor changes, my poor rose had already been shortened, and foreseeing this, my father had made the sleeves much longer than they should be, as well as the skirt. And Zombie Bar too came to complain, but about something else entirely, and with the last arrival, my crew was compromised over a significant minority of weirdos. And Zombie Bar suggested, "Seeing you do not seem too happy with the rose, and why not divide it up so that we too may become something else?" "I know of easier ways to turn into a human, my dear Zombie Bard," I said, chuckling. "Bah! Humans are beneath me. I only wish to point out the fact that we are surrounded by weirdos, and this will not sit well with the humans in the mainland," concluded Zombie Bard, licking his paw and brushing his ear. And Sissy Sam was about to say something, but Zombie Bard grimaced and made the poor fault disguise shut his mouth. And it was Zombie Bard's general opinion that Sissy Sam was a fool. "And petty Sissy Sam's here," I said friendly. "If anything happens, I can manage." Clarissa, who had arrived late, said, "Am I too late to get the magic boost?" "And what the hell are you talking about?" I said, folding my arms. "I heard from Gideon that you were giving the new guys powers," commented Clarissa. "I'm not giving anyone powers. I'm just making land-based all the wonderful attributes that have helped them survive in the ocean," I said, dodging around the question. Not understanding the answer, Clarissa complained, "No fair, we have been here longer, and what do they get to have new bodies while I remain weak and feeble?" "It is not as if you made yourself useful these past few years," interjected Farah. "Quiet, you," snapped Clarissa. I narrowed my eyes and was about to say something an intelligent argument, but instead I said, "It is my powers and I can do with them what I damn well please, and you're not entitled to any of it simply because you stood by me all of these years." And Clarissa started yelling and arguing with me. As with every slight annoyance, I ran towards my watery refuge, and even the dingy, murky waters of the docks were preferable than Clarissa's rebukes. And those gathered there returned to their daily business, and Clarissa eventually calmed down, but I felt that a grudge against me was growing inside of her. And the rest of the day was spent resupplying the ship while the cast gave a one last round before the items made inside. And the Sampanists cleaned the ship from top to bottom, and afterwards they busied themselves with their lectures and their behavior most puzzling for my human companions, and when not doing anything in particular, they would gather around together and stare at the humans. It wasn't so much as they were staring as they were napping with their eyes open, and sleep for them is a bit different since they are always on alert for danger. Everything is ready to go, and as per tradition, we set sail at night, and most people in the Navy prefer sailing in the morning, but I discovered that locomotion is more bearable at night without the burning sun frying one's brains. And there is also a bit of a melodramatic element about it, with the moon illuminating the racing clouds. Exemplary, commented Zombie Bart, looking at the Titan moon. How is Sammy doing, I asked. Better than I expected if your human crew that is worrisome, said Zombie Bart. A dry ship is certainly not suiting them well, it seems, but they will learn to adapt, and worst comes to worst, and we can at least give them a blessing, said Johnny. From the sound of it, the worst has already come to fruition, said Zombie Bart, going to rest at the bowstring of the ship. And since it was night, the zombies were more active, and this provided a good balance between them and my daytime humans. And then when the process of feeding Lucia, and the god of the fish and siphoned out the blood to feed my bizarre marine stick figure, and once there was a decent large enough pool, Lucia was placed within it, and he would then take his hard plate, for lack of a better word, before moving to the salt bath, and the bath had to be constantly filled with and drained with new salt water every day. And aside from the blood, Lucio a microorganism found in water. And aside from eating, Lucio did not seem too aware of his surroundings, though from time to time he would creep behind someone to stare with his eyeless face at a book or a drawing in progress, and how he perceived the world around it was a matter of much debate. Of the new addition, it was the most problematic since it was far too remote from anything perceived as sentient, and as to be expected, Lucio got along well with Liz and with his bizarre dances and rituals. And tonight, like any other night, Liz was performing his ritual dance, and his dance was slow and steady, and he would have moved faster had he had the energy to do so, and it was a tiring acting so strangely all the time. As with many other, Bunny was curious to see why Lucifer had abandoned his followers, and while watching his slow dance, Bunny noted the large baroque peril, and he saw Bunny from the corner of his eye, and sighing, he said, "The short answer is that I was compelled to leave by my beloved goddess." And the long answer, asked Bunny, raising an eyebrow. "Deasura made me leave," said Lee, stopping, and he went to the counter and drank water from the bottle, and all our waters were inside skins and other containers that were spillish. "I don't really care," said Bunny, leaving the room. "Then why did you bother asking?" thought Leaf, and boredom was always a source of tension in my ship, and without booze the humans all were starting to become irritable and even seasick, and by now my cook Gillian and the quartermaster Jean had gotten used to living on a dry ship. And both were social drinkers by nature, and they had abandoned this vice altogether, in part thanks to the time they spent in prison. And since it was the first night with everyone under one roof, I kept tabs on my new human crew, and Bunny and Mary were already aware of my observation and of the guys who were also watching, and it was a bit unnerving to be under so much scrutiny 30-15. And as a former courtesan, Bunny got used to my surveillance far quicker than Mary. And the next person I turned my attention to was Rudolph, and he saw Sandalus from the corner of his eyes, and not turning around, Rudolph said dryly, "And don't you have anything better to do?" "Meh," said Sandalus, passing on my message, and his delivery was dry and soulless. And the notes made by Sandalus made Rudolph's skin crawl, and I added, "I really do not see what the problem, my dear Rudolph. Privacy is just an illusion, and just because you cannot perceive who's watching does not mean you are not being watched." "Hardy, hard," said Rudolph sarcastically. "I am busy, so go away." "Our work and no play has turned you into such a sourpuss, my dear Rudolph," I responded. "I do not need play, I just need peace and quiet so I can get some work done," said Rudolph, giving a sigh of exasperation. And he stayed quiet for some time, stoically ignoring me. And in the end, Sandalus left the room and came back with Sissy Sam, and placing the cat on the table, it immediately proceeded to sit on top of Rudolph's nose and to drop to the floor his accoutrements. And Rudolph placed the cat on the floor, and then the cat proceeded to wrap itself around his leg and to bite it. And I left Rudolph alone with the annoying mouser, which was sitting distracting him from his work. "He won't get any work done if you continue to interrupt him," said Gentinius. "And not everyone can work without sleep," said Gentinius, said Sandalus, bowing. An interesting stick, I must admit, said Gentinius. It is not so much a trick as a matter of friendship, and I do not want to sound corny about it, but gods at times can be like people, and it is time to develop your friendship with them, said Sandal, smiling. Ah, that explains it, said Gentinius, pretending to understand. What does? Asked Sandal, sensing an implied insult. Meh, said Gentinius in mimicry of one of my type of respondents. Sandals continued his nightly wanderings, and I returned to focus on my immediate vicinity. And I finally noticed Clarissa standing before me, and she had been patiently waiting for me to pay attention to her, and staring at her, I said, "Well, what is it?" I wanted to apologize, and I had no right to make such silly demands of you, and it was harsh but true what you said, and I'm sorry, said Clarissa. I do not see the need to apologize, Clarissa, and I should have gilded the pill for you, and it is not so much as I prefer the zombie about my current inventory, so much as I'm making amends, and it was my negligence that precipitated their suffering. And as such, I must use all of my powers to help them, even if it's just a little, I said, trying to gild the pill. And Clarissa was quiet for some time, and then she asked, "Gild the pill, what does that even mean?" "It's just one of the many pointless sayings I use from time to time," I explained. "Ah," said Clarissa, pouting and raising an eyebrow. And she yawned and she started leaving. And then she asked, "You think that, instead of a salary, I should get some sort of power?" I gave a sigh, and chuckling, Clarissa added, "Can you blame me for trying? Power doesn't guarantee an escape from death," I said to Clarissa. And Clarissa was about to retort when Liz appeared and said, "That's enough, Clarissa." And the girl was not one to argue with Liz, and she bowed and left. And when she was gone, I said to Liz, "What a bother." "What a capricious children you have," he commented, chuckling. "And at least I have kids unlike you," I snapped back. "Ah, touchy, aren't we? And there's no need to be so hostile, and if you wish to be alone, then just say so, and I will make my exit forthwith," said Liz, twirling one of his claws with his index finger. "Nah, it's fine. So how's the goddess business in doing?" I asked. "You already know, I should assume," answered Liz. "And yeah, there's really not much to talk about, is there?" I said, pouting. "We could just enjoy the sound of the ocean," suggested Leaf, and we sat together quietly watching the clouds and the moon pass by, and it was rather a peaceful, complacent existence. We both cheered for a while, and for a moment I allowed myself to forget all my problems, both the real and imaginary ones. Alright, that's the end of that chapter. Bye-bye, God bless.